The world sees you exactly as you see yourself. So if you see your disabilities, the world will see your disabilities. I was actually my nursery school topper, and my interview went well, but I had a nasal voice, and I had a cleft palate, and I had a nasal voice. So because of that, the school rejected me. They didn't take me, and then my parents had to basically beg someone for a re-interview, and so that happened, and then I was taken in, and I ended up becoming one of the toppers of the school. Work 20-hour days, and I've always had this thing about needing to do something more impactful with my work, with my life. And I was very, appreciated in my company. I was doing extremely well, and I loved my job as well. But I was missing that emotional satisfaction of having made a difference. Or, end of the day, it was all about earning money, and that's not something that gets me going. That's not something that gets me wanting to do, put in effort. And I was realizing that I needed my days to have meant more. If I was working 20-hour days, then I needed to have made a little bit more with my day than this. And I thought that if I work 20-hour days for the country, then there is so much more that I can do, that there is so much that I can help change, that there's so many people whose lives I can affect in a positive way. And that's how I decided to finally quit my job and get into civil. Cancelled my candidature based on the fact that they said that your disability is not amongst the ones allowed in the service that you get at your rank, and so we won't give you. One imagines that you're discriminated against in the private sector. Usually people think that government has to, there is a Article 16 in Constitution, equality for everyone, right? And so one imagines that you will face problems of discrimination in the private sector, but strangely for me, it was the other way around. I was very accepted in the private sector. I got my jobs very easily. But in the government, when I came, despite the fact that they agreed that yes, you can do the job, they didn't give me the job because somebody had forgotten to put my disability as one of the disabilities that was recognized. So it was very strange, and it was quite surprising actually, because you've cleared, everybody accepts that you have this disability, and everybody accepts you can do the job. But then suddenly it's like, oh, we forgot to add this one. We forgot to think that this kind of case can exist, and hence we won't give you the job. I was wondering what to do, so I started preparing for the next attempt and hoping that I'll do better. But I started getting calls from a lot of other candidates to which similar things had happened. They'd also been rejected, and they didn't know what to do about it. And I realized that I had the financial resources to actually go to the courts and fight for this. Most people with disabilities come from poor backgrounds. So they don't have the financial strength to anyway keep arguing and fighting their cases. I realized that I was one of the few people who did. So that's how I decided to go to court. Our system is based on limb-based disabilities. It's not actual disabilities, it is limb-based, okay? So there are a lot of other disabilities which fell through the cracks. For example, with the latest act, dwarfism has been recognized. But before that, that was not recognized as a disability. So a person who was a dwarf would never get in. And in fact, I shudder to think that before the Act of 95 came in, I wouldn't anyways have been allowed. Because the medical criteria that exist, I'm never going to fulfill that. So even if I clear the exam, even if I do well, I will still never be allowed to get into the services. For a minute, you couldn't really believe that this was the criteria and this is what was happening. Problem with government becomes that what's written on paper, that's the only thing that can happen, and only courts can change that. Which is why we had to fight this battle, and which is why this had to be taken up. Because if it can affect a lot of lives, and thankfully with the new act, these kind of things will be a little less often. Problem is, you cannot remove a stigma till you bring people into the mainstream. I cannot think positively about you till I interact with you on the same platform, right? And that's where it's very important for people of all types to be in our educational as well as our working space. Because that's where people really interact with each other and get to know each other. I'm trying to get PH and transgender candidates into the services because well, if you want to improve people's opinions of certain people's capabilities, you need to put them in places like my office. If I ask these people to open a shop and sit there, a person may go and buy from some other shop. But if they come to my office and they have to get something done from the government, and this is the only person that they can get it done with, they will deal with that person and they will change their opinion.